Are you still crafting LinkedIn messages manually? In this video, I'll reveal how you can outsource the research and creation of perfectly tailored LinkedIn messages to a team of autonomous agents using Microsoft's AutoGen agents.
That's black magic.
Many professionals use AI tools like ChatGPT or Claude to improve their LinkedIn messages. However, creating a truly personalized and highly relevant message requires understanding the interests of your prospect, extensive research on their recent posts and interactions, and crafting a message that incorporates this information and aligns with your service offering. Sounds like a lot of work, right? I've actually been working on automating LinkedIn messages for several years now. The challenge has always been that systematically analyzing data from LinkedIn was extremely difficult. It wasn't until the development of vision capabilities in the latest language models that this became possible.
GPT-4 Turbo can now accept images as inputs via the API, can generate captions, classifications, and analysis.
In the next few minutes, I'll show you how to automate this entire process, allowing you to generate high-quality leads effortlessly. You'll learn how to set up a team of autonomous agents to handle research and message creation. Here's the process broken down into 4 steps. The research agent signs into LinkedIn. The research agent can open web pages, starting by visiting LinkedIn and signing in just as a real human would. Using Selenium, we can simulate a real human user and mimic the login process seamlessly. Then the agent navigates to the prospect's profile. The research agent then opens the LinkedIn profile of our prospect and reviews their recent activities to gain insights into their interests. It analyzes the activities and writes a detailed summary. The agent takes a screenshot of the LinkedIn activities and uses GPT-4 Vision to analyze the posts and interactions. The agent uses this information to write a detailed summary of the user's interests and focus areas. The generated summary serves as the starting point for the writer agent. This summary is then passed to the writer agent, who uses it to craft a highly personalized message. The agent connects the offered services to the prospect's focus areas and interests, ensuring the message is relevant and compelling. At the end of the video, I'll also show you a great way to reduce the costs of running these agents using a brand new platform called AgentOps. It provides clear visibility into the number of tokens used and all the messages exchanged between the agents and OpenAI. A quick note of caution. This video is meant to serve as a starting point, giving you a glimpse of what's possible with a basic MVP in just a few minutes. However, I strongly encourage you to refine the code further, as logging in multiple times per minute can trigger LinkedIn's security mechanisms. This is done at your own risk, and I cannot take any responsibility for potential issues. Let's dive in and revolutionize your LinkedIn outreach strategy. First, we install AutoGen. After the installation, we create a new file app.py. We open this file and start with the imports. To use AutoGen, we need Assistant Agent, User Proxy Agent, Group Chat Manager, and Register function. We start with the configuration. This essentially states that we want to use GPT-4o as the model and that the API key should be read from the OpenAI API key environment variable. We import OS to avoid any errors. Next, we create our user proxy. The user proxy is necessary because we want to interact with the agents. Our next agent is the LinkedIn Analyzer. We give it a name, LinkedIn Analyzer, and a system message describing its behavior. Essentially, it is an agent that accurately describes a profile using the given tools to create a description of a LinkedIn profile. Next, we also create a writer. This is also an assistant agent named Message Writer, with a system message that signs as Sebastian from AI4devs.com. Its role is to write highly individualized LinkedIn messages in the style of a very experienced copywriter, offering AI consulting services. Importantly, this is based on the insights from the LinkedIn profile. These two agents should now work together, so we create a group chat. In this group chat, we have the user proxy representing us. We have the LinkedIn Analyzer, the writer, and we start with an empty message array. This means there are no messages yet. Then we need a manager who decides which agent is next based on certain assumptions. We've now laid the groundwork and can initialize a chat. Here we specify the manager and a message. In the message we write that it should follow 4 steps. The first step is for the analyzer to ask the user for a given LinkedIn profile. Then it describes the profile in a few sentences. It writes an individualized LinkedIn message and asks for the next LinkedIn profile, so that we can process more profiles in a loop for maximum efficiency. But how can we enable the LinkedIn agent to visit profiles on LinkedIn? We had already mentioned that it visits individual LinkedIn profiles using Selenium. For this, we will create a file called tools.py. In this file, we will visit the individual profiles using Selenium. To make this work, we need to install Selenium. This is a tool used for automating web browsers, allowing you to programmatically control and interact with web pages for testing or data extraction purposes. Now let's briefly go over what happens here. At the top level, we have the Analyze Profile method. It uses the profile name to create a screenshot and saves it locally. Then it calls Analyze Screenshot with this file name and will return the analysis. In the Create Screenshot method, we essentially use a WebDriver to log into the site with a username and password. Then we visit the recent activity LinkedIn page of the given username. We wait a few seconds and then create the screenshot. The Analyze Screenshot method uses the GPT-4 model to analyze the screenshot and provide the user's interests as accurately as possible. Before we integrate the logic into our agents, I want to try it out manually. Let's visit Bill Gates' profile and copy the username. We'll call the Analyze Profile method with the username William Gates, and we print out the result directly in the terminal. Before we can run this, we need to set a few environment variables. First, the OpenAI API key, then our LinkedIn username, then our LinkedIn password. Now we can try it. We execute the tools PI. You see a window opening. The usernames are entered and the page is analyzed. Okay, let's take a look. We have a detailed analysis of the LinkedIn user. The user shows a deep interest in various fields, including technology, social impact, and humanitarian work. Okay, we were able to extract a lot of interest from the LinkedIn activities, and this can be wonderfully used for an appropriate message. Now we want to ensure that the LinkedIn Analyzer agent can access this information. To do this, we need to make the method available to the agent. The first step is to import the Analyze Profile method from Tools into our app.py. Then, after defining the LinkedIn Analyzer, we register the function Analyze Profile. The agent that can suggest it is the LinkedIn Analyzer. Then we have the executor, the one that actually executes the function on the computer. We give the function a name and, importantly, a description of what exactly the method does, so the agent can decide whether or not to use this method. Now we have everything in place to run our agents. We see the agents getting to work. All agents are given the steps. Then the LinkedIn Analyzer is defined as the first speaker who responds that it should start and asks for the LinkedIn profile you'd like me to analyze. It gives control back to us, and we need to enter the LinkedIn profile we want to analyze. I enter Bill Gates' profile again. The LinkedIn Analyzer suggests calling the Analyze Profile tool or method. We just need to confirm it, and it will be executed. We see it perfectly calling the page, fetching the activities. Now we have the description, and this description is passed to the writer. We see a message being written, perfectly addressing Bill Gates' interests and trying to build a connection, suggesting how AI consulting services could help. How the sales message is written depends heavily on how the writer system message is formulated. We can use all styles and learnings from the internet to write a truly customized message. The interesting part is that the analyzer results can be automated, created, and used for this message. Many comments on the last AutoGen video focused on the costs of running these agents. I want to show you a great way to make both the agents' work and their associated costs transparent. And there is a very cool tool for this, namely AgentOps, where we can make the work of the agents completely transparent. And using it is pretty straightforward. For it to work, we first need to install AgentOps. Then we can import it into our app.py. We need to tell AgentOps which part should be recorded. In our case, I want to analyze the entire process, so we need to add a statement at both the beginning and the end of the file. We also need an API key. To get this, we go to the AgentOps website and copy the key. Then we need to set the key as an environment variable. Everything we do now will be analyzed by AgentOps. So we start the process again and let the agents do their work. We can see that the process has been completed, and now let's go to the Agent Ops page. Looking at today's session here, I see that the total cost of this single run was 1 cent. And we can also see how many tokens were used, just a bit more than 2,000. What I find quite interesting is actually the session drill down, where we can see how the entire prompt that was sent to GPT-4 actually looks. And here we also see the internals that we normally don't get to see with AutoGen. And this, of course, makes debugging a lot easier, especially when the results from the language models are not as we expected. I recommend giving Agent Ops a try because it helps you build better agents. If you've learned something new and want to dive deeper into the world of AutoGen, check out our masterclasses at aifordevs.com. And don't forget to like and subscribe.